Oh my. Good morning. You're actually not supposed to be seeing this part of the process. I hit the button by accident. And as you can see, I had to drive down to the road, which is why I'm a bit late. Whoops. Hello. You guys. Okay, hold on. Let me just get situated here. I had to come down to the road because our internet signal is garbage. So, I actually didn't mean to turn the camera on. Good morning. Okay. I don't know. I think since the storms... Okay, now the camera won't turn around. I know. I was like, come on. Okay, now I'm just trying to get the camera to turn around. And what it's doing is zooming instead of turning around. Oh! So, I think I've been rolling with the flow of this stuff for many, many days now. But I have to tell you that today the internet situation really pissed me off. Yeah. Hello! I was really, actually full-blown angry this morning when the internet wouldn't work. So, pardon me. I know you guys are so sweet and understanding, but I'm pretty frustrated. So I'm trying to get the, so I had to find the other tripod and the this and the that and run around. Okay. All right. Do you guys see the keyboard covering my face? Oh boy. Okay. You guys make everything better. I'm already starting to feel better. So, hello. So I have to call the internet company when I get, oh brother. I was mad. I'm mad. I was mad. I feel better already. But this morning I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Again with the signal, again with the internet, again with the telephone, blah. So anyway, deep breath. We're here now. How annoying, so annoying. It's like we moved back to in time. Yay! Oh, that's great. Oh, never. Thank you, Roseanne. Yeah, I never quit. I never give up. Oh, that's great. Oh, good. Good. That's why I never quit. That's why I can't give up, because it works. It helps. So, well, I definitely wanted to kick it. Because I was running around grabbing all my stuff. Oh, yeah, you don't need to tell him, Michelle. Just do it. I had to grab a Kindle and a Nook and a this and a notebook and 2 tripods because one works in the car, but the top was on the other one. So I'm going to turn the car off. Unless, can you guys hear the car engine running? Yeah, and definitely not the first time I've had a traveling office. And deep breath. Okay, good. I'm going to leave the car running because my battery's a little bit low. So, my name's Michelle Wolf. You can find me at caddyshackdesigns.com. Super quick business rundown. I'm running a campaign to raise funds for doing some free workshops in Atlanta for homeless youngsters and for renewing my license. You can find that at this address. It's all scribbled down real quick. GoFundMe.com/Michelle Wolf. Oh, I have it running because my phone battery is low and it's charging off the car. So at the GoFundMe website are options for a Reiki session, a portrait, oil consultation, all for less than the normal prices. So it's not like you need to go just dump money in a can. You can get a service for a reduced price for that. And that's running till January 3rd. And thank you to everyone who's contributed so far in one way or another. Like the numbers on the website are not indicative of how much has been raised. I'm like 35%, because people have donated privately or bought, signed up for workshops and stuff like that. So I'm counting all of that. The next workshop is here, feelings.eventbrite.com. That's for women. Tickets are on sale till January 5th, and then classes start the evening of January 19th. So it's every Tuesday for 5 weeks, 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll call that enough for business. So then the funnest thing ever came in the mail yesterday. I never saw this woman's work before, but she reminds me a lot of Sark. Do you guys remember Sark? She was really popular in the 90s and early 2000s, S-A-R-K. I think her actual name is Susan. Yes! So this is a Leonie Dawson workbook that I was gifted with by Nina, and I'm so happy. It's not something I ever would have bought for myself, and it's incredible. So it's Sark-like in that, look at these colors. Like awesome colors and places to color, and creative questions to get your mind going. And it says 2016 on it, but it's, it's a workbook for your business. It's not time sensitive. It's beautiful. Oh, it's so beautiful. And it's huge. Look how big it is. It's like 14 inches. It's huge. It's awesome. Oh, I just love it. I was so impressed. And then there's also a digital version that's only $10 if you like digital stuff. And it came with this gigantic wall calendar for 2016. So that's awesome. Yeah, digital is only $10. So I wanted to let you guys know about that. I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that, but you can find them at leoniedawson.com. And for what you get, the price is really impressive too. There's tons of stuff in the back for just free thinking and coloring and whatnot. And they have one for your business and one for your life. So if you're not running a business, you can get one for your life. It's really, really pretty. Just pretty. So that, along with my Desire Map daily planner, I'm all set. So let's talk about A Course in Miracles. I found my Kindle, and what I'm going to read to you today comes out of the Holy Shift book. I finally remembered I actually had that. I was like, oh yeah, I still have that book, because the other book's in Loganville. This comes from the Song of Prayer, section 1, and it's on December 21st, if anybody has that book. It says, prayer is a way offered by the Holy Spirit to reach God. If we feel like we can't, if we feel like we're disconnected, we're never really disconnected, but that's our way back to centering. Prayer is a way offered by the Holy Spirit to reach God. It is not merely a question or an entreaty, and it cannot succeed until you realize that it asks for nothing. How else could it serve its purpose? It is impossible to pray for idols and hope to reach God. So prayer involving I need $1 million won't help you, because your focus is in the wrong direction, even if you really do need $1 million. True prayer must avoid the pitfall of asking to entreat. So a begging prayer or a to get prayer is not effective. Ask rather to receive what is already given, to accept what is already there. So let me read it all one more time. Prayer is a way offered by the Holy Spirit to reach God. It is not merely a question or an entreaty. It cannot succeed until you realize it asks for nothing. It's not asking for anything. How else could it serve its purpose? It is impossible to pray for idols and hope to reach God. True prayer must avoid the pitfall of asking to entreat. Ask rather to receive what's already given, to accept what's already there. Once you do that, when you pray in that tone of, help me just remember who I am, help me remember my power, you're asking to be you've fallen asleep and you're asking to be woken up. You have enough consciousness left that you know you're out of it, you're out of touch, and you have enough wits about you to say, I need a little help getting back connected. And asking for that, everything else comes from that. So if you remember who you are and to be reaffirmed, to feel that connection again, to remember that you're not a victim of circumstances, you're not helpless in the face of whatever's going on in your life right now, whether that's cancer or unreliable internet signal when all of your business is online. Too often we're praying for idol-based stuff, and idol-based stuff is anything outside of us. So we're praying to find a new job, or we're praying to find the right house. And it's not necessarily bad to pray for things like that. It depends on how you're coming at it. So the prayer that I was taught in the Unity Church when I used to attend them is called affirmative prayer. So you get quiet and you're aware of what the need is or what you think the need is in your life. And you pray by giving thanks for having already received it. That's a terrible oversimplification. But it's not going to source on your knees in a begging kind of way, like a helpless victim-y kind of way, like I can't do this and I need this, and like you're making a pitch to your boss. It doesn't work like that. Asking to receive what's already given to you, everything else will flow from that. So it's a far more efficient way to pray if you just cut to the chase and reconnect to source and go right to the core of it all. You're actually saving yourself a lot of time and agony. And then that constantly reinforces you to understand that nothing going on in the material world is, there's nothing going on out there that isn't reflective of in here. And we can always change in here. We're never helpless. We're never completely at the mercy of external circumstances. Even when horrible things happen, we still have the power to choose how we respond to it. So that has a lot to do with our other book, The Law of Divine Compensation, because the only way that I'm aware of, and the only times in my life when flow actually works, is when I'm connected to Source. And when I'm not putting a lot of, it needs to be this number, it needs to be that number, it needs to be on Tuesday at 5 p.m., buy a check. It has to come from this person and not that person. It's when I'm connected to Source, first of all, I'm not too worried about it. I know that what needs to come will come, and so I don't waste a lot of time with traditional goal setting, which is I want to make $5,000 a month. You guys have heard this formula, right? I need $5,000 a month, or I want $5,000 a month, so I'm just focused all the time on that number. For me, that never works. In fact, I usually lose money when I start limiting it that way. Or so then they'll say, well, ask for, yeah, exactly. Ask to receive what's already in your energy field. You just can't physically see it yet. That's your fastest way. So most creative people that I know don't do well with those typical goal setting processes, because that's not where your heart is, and that's so against your natural tendency to just be pure creativity. Yeah, it's timeless. So you can't put a $5,000 a month every month, and then if you don't get it, then you're disappointed, and then you get beat up You feel beat up and victimized by life when really you've just chosen the wrong process to work with. As from knowing you already have it. Yeah, and that's the tricky part when you don't. When you have bills sitting on your table that you can't pay, it's a tricky game to find a way to feel that everything's okay. And that's where prayer is helpful and immediate. You get immediate results. You immediately feel better when you step back into trust, when you step back into source, when you remind yourself that probably what you're worrying about is never going to happen, or isn't going to happen in the time that you're worried about it. So, yes, pray to be the channel. Pray to change me into a more open channel for your work in this world. Help me, change me into being a clear channel, an open channel, a conduit, an uncomplicated conduit. Whatever words work for you, but asking to be changed to that, help me answer more people's prayers. Change me into a person who understands how to stay connected. Or change me into a person who's very aware when I become disconnected. Whatever you need help with, it's going to happen in you. It's going to require a change of you. That feels amazing. That kind of prayer is because it's empowering. It's reminding you that all change has to happen in you first. Anything that's going to happen out there has got to start here. So why even bother asking my boss to, praying for a raise from my job when I need to pray to be pray to be changed into allowing more abundance in my life. Now, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me right now. It just means I want a more full expression of the power I inherently know I possess, but I'm not expressing it very well. Or we could say we're not expressing it very effectively. It's not effective to spin our wheels and think about getting a new job or asking for a raise or whatever. It's not really effective. It's not an effective use of our power. Does that make sense? So, in the Law of Divine Compensation, I have no idea what chapter we're in because I'm on this nook. Heath, I'm down at the road because we have no internet signal. So I'm sitting down at Conesaga and 52. My husband just signed on. I know he's wondering where I'm at. So, hi, honey. I'll be home later. He probably got up and was like, what the hell? The car's gone. The door's wide open. So I went flying out of the house. Okay. I will. So, let me see if I can figure out where we're at. I don't suppose it matters a whole lot. What she says here is, we lack faith in what exists within us because we lack faith in who exists within us. If we can't find a way to believe that the source of all that is in us, we're never going to feel the ease and the power of everything that we have access to. We lack faith in what exists within us because we lack faith in who exists within us. Each of us has a unique part to play in the healing of the world. Each of us is assigned by God a function that only we can fill. And how many years do we waste trying to fill other people's perception of what our function is? Or chasing dreams of seeing other people be successful at a certain thing and then trying to do that yourself, instead of asking, what's my function? What's my particular assignment? on this day, in this life, at this time. At the level of our divine function, none of us are in competition with each other. We don't have to compete with other salespeople. We don't have to compete with other Reiki people or teachers or whatever. There's no competition. Massage therapists practically come to blows over clients. I don't know if they all do that, but I have seen a couple really go at it. At the level of our divine function, none of us are in competition. Yes, recognition comes first, and then the doors will open. The universe has an infinite number of pieces of pie. I think I might have read this already, but I'm going to read it again. My peace doesn't take away from yours. How many years of trying to conform of others' ideas of who you should be? Yes, you need to be a doctor or a lawyer, and I'm not going to pay for your college unless that's the major you choose. And that is true for an enormous number of freshmen in college. I was horrified at how many kids, I went back to school. I went to college later. I was 25, and the average person around me was 18, 19, and I had a child, and so we were at different stages in life, and there were so many of them complaining that they didn't like the classes they were taking, but mom and dad wouldn't pay for their college unless they took that particular route. That's really sad. Like being someone on a job interview to get that job rather than who I am. Right. You go to a job because you think the pay scale is going to work for you, and you tell yourself, well, it's work I can do. I'm capable of it. But just because you're capable and you can do something doesn't mean you should be doing it. I was one of about 3 social workers in child protection, like the ugliest part of social work at all, that only got threatened twice, because I was trained by the other 2 who went out of their way to treat people like human beings and to do all you could to avoid putting children in foster care, because that's the worst. It's the worst. It's the worst for everyone involved, and sometimes you have to, but it's really should be the last resort rather than the first resort. And the reason but just because I'm good at that doesn't mean I should ever work in that field again. Ever. But it's easy, right? The temptation is there because I could pick up a job like that within just a few months. It's government agencies, so it takes a while. But I have the credentials and the experience, and I can ace an interview, and it would be easy. Easy money. Soul-crushing misery money. And frankly, I'd rather... we're not this bad. I'm totally just using this as an example. But I'd rather go to a food bank and live on government cheese than go back to doing that kind of soul-crushing work. For me. It's not soul-crushing for everybody. Okay. All money is not good money. Right. Right. If it's not in alignment with your soul, there's really no point in wasting your time doing it. There's space for everyone's gifts to flower. There is more than enough room for all of us. I know I read this already. You are a child of God carrying the eternal mark of your perfect source. You're naturally entitled to miracles because love is what you are. Love is not something you look for and find outside of you. It's something that you eventually recognize is the very nature of your DNA. You couldn't escape love if you tried. You can go to sleep, you can turn the light off and pretend you're not loved, but you are. Everyone who's witnessed someone just before death and just after death knows that the animating force in a body is very clearly there or gone. When it's gone, and you know it. And that's love, in my opinion. This is not an arrogant appraisal of the ego, but rather a humble acceptance of the truth. It's the truth. You're not saying, I'm all-powerful God, I know everything, and I'm omniscient, and now I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket. Like, it's not that at all. You just happen to have within you the eternal power of the universe. Just because you do. That's all I can say. There's quantum physics scientific explanations that make absolutely perfect sense. If you have trouble understanding quantum physics, a great book is Alice in Quantum Land, where the author uses the Alice in Wonderland story as an allegory to teach you quantum physics. The science is there. It's very easy. It's very easy. Because you are a child of God made of love, only love has power over you. Your mortal self can be damaged, our bodies can be damaged, but your spiritual self cannot, ever. You don't have to identify with the brokenness of the world, for the effects of brokenness are temporary. Every loving thing that ever happened to you was real, and everything else was an illusion. Such illusions have no effect on your future unless you carry them with you into the present. So, it's not to say that things that happened to you didn't hurt. Of course they did. They absolutely did. They're painful and may have destroyed your life temporarily. But recognizing that they were an illusion means you don't carry them with you forever. Something bad happens, and it happens once, instead of the millions of times it can happen when we replay it in our heads for years and years and years. So it's entirely up to ourselves whether we consider ourselves damaged goods. Of course, things might have gone roughly in the past, but the past is over and cannot touch you unless you hold on to it. You have to be really deliberate about hanging on to the past. I know, those replays are the worst. Yeah, own it. Turn it around. Something crappy happens, you may be able to turn that around and help a lot of people with it, if that's what you want to do. It takes more energy to hold on to the past than to let go and welcome the future. Welcome what's coming toward you is a lot less of an energy drain than dragging around a backpack full of bricks of the past. Right now, in this moment, right now as we're talking, the universe is responding not to your past, but the truth of who you are, who you always were, and always will be. That's, they finally got the spotlight fixed, I guess. Ouch. That's super bright. Turn the spotlight down. It's extra bright because it's been raining for like a million years. So now when the sun comes out, you're just like, oh my God, I'm going blind. I'm blinded by the light, literally. We've got all the right stuff because all of us are hosts to God. All of us are that channel. We are all a conduit for love to work through us in the world and change the world one heart at a time. One person at a time, we can have an amazing impact. And then some people do large scale change, but a lot of us, it's just one person at a time, a little collection at a time, and you do what you can do. And the best thing you can do is to be 100% who you are. Love's voice, and not the fear-based egos, is the voice we can listen to and learn to follow. Like we said yesterday, it's building a skill set. We're not usually skilled practitioners of this until we do a lot of study and talk with each other and support each other in learning how to live in a world, to live in it but be not of it. So we're in it, but we don't fall asleep so often. Yes, if we could carry expectancy and curiosity around instead of the past, yes. When you wake up in the morning and say, frequently I'll say, guide me to where I'm best needed, or not most needed, but where I can best be of service. And then you go through the day with some curiosity, some expectant curiosity, like, what are you bringing? What are you going to cross my path with today? What's going to come to me today? Who's going to come to me today? Who am I going to cross paths with when I go to the post office? And how am I going to handle the lots of HBO words, internet signal being out? You know? You don't get to... Things like that are very fleeting. Like, I was angry, purely and intensely angry, and then I started grabbing my stuff and headed for the car. So, and then as soon as I got here and got settled, and I was like, whatever, it's all right. There's certainly bigger fish to fry. Each of us is meant to channel the spiritual realities of talent, creativity, and intelligence. This is nothing to take personal credit for, but nothing to apologize for either. That playing small thing. If you have skills and talents, then you have skills and talents. Use them. They're yours. They were given to you. There's no need to feel apologetic about that. As a child of God, you just happen to be the recipient of endless power and possibility. Whether or not you've always known this or practiced it, there lies within you in this very moment the latent ability to create and achieve beyond your wildest dreams. Just like voting for Pedro, and all your wildest dreams will come true. Vote for yourself. What new and exciting thing is coming today? Right? Vote for Pedro, and all your wildest dreams will come true. Vote for yourself. And if you're on the replay, vote for yourself. For God's sake, we support all these people. We support a lot of people, right? Typically, if somebody around us is venturing into a new arena, like starting a new career or having a new child or whatever, most people I know spend a lot of time cheerleading that person. Like, oh my gosh, you got this, you can do this, I'm here to help you, call me when you need me. What if we just gave ourselves a tenth of that cheerleading? Our lives would be quite a bit different. If we were like, don't worry about it, Michelle, the internet's down, you got this, get your shit and get in the car, drive. Which is exactly what I did. You have to cheerlead yourself, and it's a lot more fun if you're your own cheerleader. Self-cheerleading. I can't do mirror work. It just makes me laugh. It reminds me of the guy from Saturday Night Live who used to look in the mirror and say, you're good enough, you're smart enough, and doggone it, people like you. Drive, woman, get in the car and drive. Quit messing around with the machinery and just go. And that's what I was doing, right? I was fiddle farting around, messing with the boxes, and then sometimes if I unplug the phone, it'll work. And then it didn't work, and I was messing around, and it's like, just go! So, none of this ever changes our ability. We might not, and some people don't, fully access their authenticity till much later in life, right? You've heard about that, people who start a new career when they're freaking 80. And Albert Ellis, if he's still alive, years ago was in his 90s and still attending lectures at colleges. He's the one who invented rational emotive behavioral therapy, REBT, which is a lot of what Byron Katie's work is. Rational emotive behavioral therapy. You can Google REBT and find all kinds of worksheets. We expect it from others because we give it, but you're right, we have to learn to give it ourselves. Yes, I'm experiencing that again on a much smaller scale. I've experienced that before, letting go of the expectation that just because you helped someone in the past means that they're going to help you now when you need it. It doesn't always happen that way. So as I'm fundraising, I'm noticing that the people I've helped the most are not interacting. And so then I get stuck in that thing of, or I don't get stuck, but I'm aware that then my thoughts go to, well, you know what? I'm never helping you again. And that's how it's going to be. And I'm going to take my marbles, and I'm going to take my toys, and I'm going to go home, and I'm never talking to you again. That's the ego childish part of me. And then immediately following that is, those are people who are always like that. It's no surprise. They've always been takers. Always. You know that. So don't try to teach a dog to bark. Meow. Don't try to teach a cat to bark. I would like to teach a cat to not dig in my closet in the middle of the night and wake me up, but I'm not having very much success with that either. So the key to that kind of stuff is you have to step back and say, I'm not going to spend time worrying about where help comes from. I'm going to spend my time connecting to source, where more help can come to me than I can ever imagine. Help in my projects can flood into me when I'm not focused on, can't focus on where the help comes from, but it is a natural, normal tendency to think that other people that you've helped will help you in the same way. That's a very natural ego thing to think. And I'm aware and it's very brief, I'm like, what? And then it's gone. It's like, gosh, I really would rather be connected to the source of all that is. That's a way more powerful place to be than worrying about if a handful of people have woken up that morning and decided not to be as they are. That's crazy. That's the crazy part, is we wake up and think that someone who's shown us who they are and who they've chosen, the roles they've chosen to play in this life so far, and we think they should wake up and be different. They're not going to wake up and be different until they decide to wake up and be different. And that's not today. Believe them. Yes, when someone... Didn't Maya Angelou say that? When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Duh. We do want to believe crazy things, though. Yeah. Our ego makes us crazy. Our ego makes us be demanding of people and circumstances. Bangs head. Add another brick, print. I would never do this, but I do think sometimes it would be funny to tattoo like a set of brick patterns right here. That'd be weird. I would never do it, but I think it would be hilarious. Maybe I'll do it for Halloween. No mortal condition diminishes the power of God. It doesn't matter what your resume is or how many degrees you have. You can have all the letters after your name in the world, and you might still be the worst helper on the planet. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made or how the economy is doing. It matters only where you place your consciousness now, today. Know who you are and who lives within you, and moving mountains will seem small compared to what you can do. Moving a mountains would be like chump change. Like, move a mountain? Pfft, whatever, that's way too easy. When we're really connected, we know the more we allow, the better it's going to be. We can get tangled up and there's a time gap. So we have these moments of open flow and connection to ultimate power, and then we tend not to sustain them because we start looking for results right away. But there's a time gap. And the point is not to connect to that source with the intention of getting a particular thing. Like, I'm going to connect to God so that I can make $5,000 a month. We've already, cut yourself off at the knees. The point of connecting to God is to remember who you are. Everything else follows from that. And eventually, that feeling of being so connected is addictive and helps pull you away from the other things that you were addicted to, like binging on Netflix, or chips and salsa, or alcohol, or drugs, or whatever it is that you get addicted to. Internet. I can definitely get addicted to internet. I've really stepped back from Facebook for a few days other than popping in and doing some real quick stuff. It's very refreshing. So, that's really all I have today. Recognizing God's infinite power and infinite love for us. This is the last part. In relation to another... that goes on to a different subject, so I'll skip it. Recognize who you are and who lives within you. I really love that. Pray. You'll spend more time in relationship, with yourself and others. Ask to receive what's already given, to accept in what's already there. You don't have to go get anything. It's a total reverse. It's a total 180. I spend a lot of time thinking out there, and I really am dedicated to turning that the opposite direction. And the more I do it, the more I practice it. This year I've been practicing it consistently every day. Things have changed more this year than in any other year that I've tried to generate anything, really. And that's not to say we still haven't encountered obstacles. We definitely have some obstacles to overcome, but we're overcoming them, and it's getting slowly better and better. Do you guys have any questions? Life doesn't stop happening. Internet signals and creeks don't stop flooding. Your aggravation about them just becomes really brief. We're really resourceful, my husband and I. So our little flood trapped thing let us see where our weak areas are as far as disaster planning. 1, we need a generator, and 2, we need to replace the filter on my backpacking water filter. Because boiling water sucks and it wastes propane. But everything else is great. We have it all down to a science now. I think the generator is kind of a major oversight on our part. So I'm glad we were in a relatively benign situation to find the holes in our system. So, well, I'm going to wrap it up then. It's kind of short today, but I need to get back and do some things, and then later this afternoon I think so. I think we'll look on Craigslist or something. A friend of mine from high school is going to be 2.5 hours away from here in North Alabama, so I think we'll drive over and see her this afternoon. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for being so patient with the delays and the messes that have happened because of all these storms. Yes, much love to everyone. And go check out those workbooks. Get yourself something pretty. The digital one's pretty too. Thank you. You too. I will, you're welcome. I'll talk to you later, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Hopefully from home, but if not, I'll drive down in the car. All right, I love you. Have a wonderful day. You're welcome.